Since I can remember, I've always had an issue with being alone. After a while, my parents became so concerned that they brought me to a therapist. I was told that I have separation anxiety. Due to this, I really don't have any friends. When I attempt to play with the kids in the neighborhood, they run away and yell at me. I prefer the company of my parents anyway. Kids can be so mean. Due to my anxiety, I have to be homeschooled. It's pretty fun, and I get a lot more free time than the kids that go to public school. So I hear. One of my favorite games to play is hide and seek. My mom likes to play with me. Usually I start off as the seeker, but today, I figured we'd switch it up. We live in a raised ranch-style house, with a few bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and a basement. I don't go down in the basement. It's too scary. Usually, I like to hide in one of the rooms, but with little time left of the countdown, I scurried for the front bathroom instead. I climbed into the shower tub, and slowly drew the curtain to hide my figure. The natural light from the hallway slightly lit the bathroom, but without any windows, and turning on the light, the room was quite dark. I peeked out through the slit of the curtain to see if my mom was finished counting. I held my breath and tried to hear footsteps, but I didn't hear anything. I was about to open up the curtain and creep out when I felt something gently graze the back of my arm. I spun around, but nothing was there. I noticed my faint reflection in the fiberglass shower and turned my head to one side. As I did, I noticed a second shadow standing next to me. I ripped the shower curtain open and ran screaming to my mother, but she wasn't sitting in the counting spot on the couch. I ran from room to room calling to her, but there was no answer. Maybe she went downstairs, I thought to myself. But why would she do that? She knows that I hate it down there. I stood at the top of the stairs and leaned over the railing and called to her. Again, no reply. I sat down at my school work table, positioned up against a far wall in the living room, and tried not to panic. I sat still and closed my eyes. As I sat there, I felt movement within the room. But before I could see, my mom jumped up and grabbed me. I screamed and laughed with relief. "Did I getcha?" she asked. I nodded, smiling. I could feel the worry slipping away. "Okay, you count now, Adeline," my mom said. "All right," I responded. "But remember, don't hide downstairs. I don't like it down there." She smiled and left the room. I began my count, skipping a few numbers here and there. I couldn't wait to see where she decided to hide. I finished and began my search. First, around the living room, just to be safe. Then I ventured into the dining room, looking under the table and in every corner. When I came up empty, I decided to make my way down the hallway. I entered the front bathroom. Maybe she had the same idea as me, I thought. I stood very still to see if there was movement in the shower. I waited for about a minute when I noticed whispering from behind the curtain.
"No, she's not ready,"
I heard. The voice sounded like my mom's. I walked over and swiped the curtain open, but there was no one there. As I grabbed the shower curtain to close it, I saw my faint reflection again in the shower. To my right stood another shadowy figure of a reflection. It looked almost like a man. Before I could scream again, the figure put its hand up, and I heard a voice in my head.
"Don't scream. I'm not going to hurt you."
My heart was pounding so furiously.
"Breathe, child,"
the figure said. I took in a deep breath and let it out. "Who are you?" I asked meekly.
"I am Mr. Faceless,"
the figure spoke softly.
"I am your new friend. Do you want to play with me?"
I hesitated for a moment, and then I remembered that I was playing with Mom. "I have to find my mom," I said quickly. "But when I do, can she play too?" Mr. Faceless pressed its hand up against the shower wall.
"No,"
the figure boomed.
"Mommy, not welcome, but there are other children here to play with."
I never had any real friends before. The thought of playing with other kids really made me excited. "Okay," I agreed. "How do I play with you and the other children?" I asked.
"Come closer, Adeline,"
Mr. Faceless said.
"Put your hand where mine is."
I stepped into the shower and mirrored the exact movement of the figure. As I pressed my hand to the cold wall of the shower, A black, shadowy hand reached out from the wall and grabbed hold of my wrist. I began to scream as the darkness engulfed my arm and pulled me into the wall. I saw someone standing behind me in the bathroom. I jerked my head around to see who it was. It was my mom. "Mom, help me!" I shrieked, but she just stood there, motionless. "Go with him, Adeline. It's okay, honey." I couldn't believe it. She was letting this monster take me. A tear trickled down my face as the last of my body was pulled into the portal. I stood, staring back through the wall of the shower. The tall, faceless figure offered me his shadowy hand. I grasped it. It was surprisingly solid. I could faintly hear my mother talking.
"Please, you have one. That is what you asked for. Please, don't take my body from me."
It appeared the monster turned his head down towards me.
Your mother has betrayed you, child.
It exclaimed. It turned back towards the woman in the reflection.
I will come for the favorite child,
it announced. The woman screamed and threw something at the reflection, but Mr. Faceless and I turned away and went home.